Alright, it's 2021 livery reveal season at the moment, so what better time than to bring this series back? I've covered many a decade, okay, and today we're looking at my top 10 best liveries of the 1980s. An era of some absolutely nutty car designs and some banging liveries. And of course, a nice livery on an ugly motor probably isn't going to make the list, or vice versa. A good livery complements the car it's on. It's the whole package. And I will say I'm very fortunate for Pinterest's existence because I was able to get this big ass spotter's guide of every single livery from 1980 to 1989, which made this much easier. In P10, we have the 1985 Alfa Romeo 185T, driven by Riccardo Patrese and Eddie Cheever. This Benetton Alfa Romeo is an absolute peach. They had a very similar livery in 1984, but the 85 one just refined it. For me, lovely. The combination of green and red we don't really see very often in Formula 1, but for me this works an absolute treat. And the gold wheels are a really nice touch as well. P9, we have the 1983 Spirit 201C Honda. A car driven by Stefan Johansson and just Stefan Johansson. They only had one car. Look, obviously the aesthetic design of this car is pretty mad. Look at those huge side pods, that huge rear wing, that big exposed engine. That car looks mad in so many ways, and I kind of love it. But the livery didn't just come in this white, it also came in a blue and red, which also looks good. But for me, the fact that the car is so mad, I think the white, simple livery on a mad car just works together a bit better. And it's a Honda, it's white. A white Honda, I mean, the Integra Type R for me is top 10 cars of all time. I love it. This is giving me strong Type R vibes, because Japanese cars will always be a weakness of mine. In P8, we have the 1987 Minardi M187, driven by the late Adrian Campos and Alessandro Nannini. It is Bumblebee time. The team that is now AlphaTauri was Minardi back then, has gone through many liveries over the years. Black and yellow, though, will always bang. As much as I'm looking forward to seeing the Alpine, I am disappointed that we're losing the black and yellow Renault from the grid, because that colour combination just always will work. Also, this livery illustrates really nicely how brand sponsor logos should be colour matched to a livery. In P7, we have the 1984 Lotus 95T, driven by Elio De Angelis and Nigel Mansell. Okay, the first truly iconic livery to make this list. The John Player Special, the JPS car, will always slap. What a livery. The black and the gold with that car, just so good. Sure, a company that rhymes with bitch celery kind of tarnished it with their take. Very unlike them to straight up copy something that already exists and claim for it to be theirs. In P6, we have the 1988 Ligier JS31, driven by Renault and Stefan Johansson again. What an absolutely beautiful motor. Super low, super long. If Minton was an F1 car, this one. And then there's the livery itself. This shade of blue is always going to be a dub from me. I'm always going to be happy with that. And then the Lotto branding on top of it, little hits of red and white, just break it up nicely. It's not too much. In P5, we have the 1987 Williams FW11B, driven by Nigel Mansell and Nelson Piquet. Of course this was going to be here. The iconic blue, yellow, white cannon. Obviously iconic. Maybe you thought it might have been a bit higher. But again, this decade produced some wonderful bits of livery design. In P4, we've got the 1989 zakspeed 891, driven by Bernd Schneider and Aguri Suzuki. A West branded car that isn't a McLaren. Yes, you are hearing that correctly. This zakspeed is of course adorned by that iconic tobacco brand. Obviously it's a tobacco brand because they were all tobacco brands back then. It's super simple, it's just red and white. It's just elegant. I just love it. And the Yamaha logo on the back, because it was Yamaha engine. There's just something about that I just find really cool. It just looks tight and purposeful and decent. In P3, we have the 1988 McLaren MP4/4, driven by Alan Prost and a guy called Ayrton Senna. You might have heard of him. It's so good that I got this poster of it. The Marlboro McLaren was always going to be here. Again, for many of you, this will be P1. For me, it's not quite that. I just love it though. It's just, I can't think of anyone, any F1 fan who would look at this car and think, yuck. Like, it's so nice. It's just, what more can I say? It's iconic. In P2, we have the 1985 Renault RE60, driven by Patrick Tambay and Derek Warwick. The light's gone out. Probably a left field shout here, but I think this Renault looks absolute fire. The oversized Renault logo, the big elf on top of it, the pinstriping, it's just lovely. And again, black and yellow with a bit of white, a bit of a kind of the current, well, we're losing the current livery, like we said earlier. A very detailed livery, but very well implemented and very well put together. I rate that. And then in P1, we have the 1989 Lotus 101, driven by Nelson Piquet and Satoru Nakajima. What a beautiful motor. If you've watched these videos before, I've talked about this car. The same kind of livery came P2 in my best liveries of the 90s, getting beaten out by that. So nice. Beautiful Ferrari. But it's top of this list because that car is just fire. It's just massive front wing, massive rear wing, massive wheels. Just bright yellow with the navy blue camel and other logos colour matched to the navy. I just love it. It's just a yellow car with logos on it, but it's still my favourite. And that's why this is my list, because it's just what my favourite is. I love it. I think it's beautiful. So that's what I think. But what about you? What bangers have I missed? What would be your top 10? What didn't I give a mention to? Do you think all of these are ugly, that are now I'm blind and stupid? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. F1 is getting closer. It's getting closer. There will be actual content around F1, topical content to be made in the coming weeks. I'm so excited. I'm sure you are too. Thanks again for watching. My name's been Tommo. This continues to not be the Tommo F1 YouTube channel technically. Thanks again. Have a good one. Ta-da.